Ruckus. We talking that talk, just spitting them facts. We setting them traps and cracking them bags. Yeah. We got all the news, we know all the stories. Yeah. We start from the bottom, rise up to the glory. Yeah. We say what your local reporters can't say. Yeah. We break down the X's and O's on the play. Replace AJ, King, Con, and Jose Ruckus. We call it right on the first take and they love us. Yeah, we the best when it comes to sports debate. Find the podcast and let it play. If we get you in your feelings, that's okay. AJ and Jose send you on your way like, bruh, don't cause a ruckus. We just call it how we see it, big bro. And that we will always do.
What's up, Internet? Welcome to Don't Cause a Ruckus, your favorite debate show. You just don't know it yet. I am your host, Jose Ruckus. Joining me is my good friend and arch rival, AJ Khah. What's up, AJ?
Not much, man. How you doing?
Oh, man, I'm doing great. We got a stacked show today. Yesterday was one of the biggest days of sports news I can remember in a really long time. Some NBA drama went down. There was the biggest trade deadline the NFL has ever had, on top of many other things yesterday. I'm excited to get into this show, man. Let's just do it right now.
Let's do it.
All right. So, yeah, like I said, biggest NFL trade deadline in history. AJ, who are the big winners? Who are the big losers from this trade deadline?
All right. Big winner for me, Justin Fields. He got something that he really sorely needed, and that's a wide receiver that can catch the ball. Now, Claypool coming from Pittsburgh honestly is an immediate upgrade for them. The fact that this man can play and he was underutilized in the Steelers offense, it not only helps Claypool show out and show what he's capable of, but it also gives Justin Fields the ability to not have to run out of every pocket. Not only that, but let's look at TJ Hawkinson. This man went from the worst team in the Detroit Lions to the surprisingly really good Minnesota Vikings. So to me, that's just an upgrade. Yeah, the Vikings aren't a very pass heavy towards tight end situation, but maybe it will.
They have been in the past. Kirk Cousins has liked tight ends in the past.
Exactly. That's what I was going to say. In the past, they've used them and utilized tight ends to a high degree. And I think it was just the fact that they were lacking in that. And let's be real, there's not a lot of great tight ends out there. And I think TJ Hawkinson could really shine in the Vikings offense.
Yeah, it is a big move that can really help put them over the top. They already have Justin Jefferson there, and they have Adam Thielen. Having TJ Hawkinson, the ball hawk, that puts that receiving core over the edge, because he's been very, very good on the Lions, and I expect him to be good in that system that has previously used tight ends really, really well. I agree with you on the winners. Chase Claypool moving to the Bears. It's, that's not a team that's necessarily in win now mode. I don't think that they're expecting this to put them over the top, but over the last couple of weeks, the offense there has really started to shine. And people have been saying, like, give Justin Fields an elite pass catcher and see what happens if that takes them to the next level. I definitely like that pickup from them. I would say the biggest loser from this trade deadline is the Denver Broncos. They had one of the best pass rushers in the league right now, Bradley Chubb. They traded him away to the Miami Dolphins, who, honestly, if I'm going to be clear right now, such a huge pickup for the Miami Dolphins, a team that is really competing hard right now. They needed a pass rusher with their secondary being out. They can't blitz as much as they used to. So this is a huge pickup for them. But you look at the Broncos in the offseason, they traded a bunch of picks to get Russell Wilson. And now it seems like they're giving up on the season, essentially. Like this is them admitting defeat as far as I can tell.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to disagree with you. I think they kind of are just like, well, this experiment didn't work well. And I can see you smiling for numerous reasons. But for me, I think the real losers of this were, first of all, Cooks in Houston. The man is on the worst team, and he's arguably one of the best wide receivers in the league. This man can show out, and I know he was hoping to get traded, but not only that, Cam Akers too. Like, the man is begging begging to get out of Los Angeles, and it's just like, well, we're not going to do it for some odd reason. Like now it's just literally just what are they doing? What are they doing over there? They have a running back that doesn't want to play, that you aren't playing. Why not trade him now? I mean,
I was expecting the Rams to make a move for like Kareem Hunt, or there were a couple other running backs out there. The Dolphins, again, huge pickup for them in getting Jeff Wilson. Obviously, the 49ers aren't going to trade Jeff Wilson to an in-division rival, but the thing with the Rams is that they're missing too many pieces for them to actually make a run at the trade deadline. Their O-line is bad. They need running backs. They need receivers. There's too many holes to fill in that roster right now. They're just not very well constructed right at the moment. I wouldn't be surprised.
On the future. Focus on the future,
focus
man.
on the future.
Come
focus
on.
on the future.
Why
yeah,
not?
Why not? They have so many picks that they're just going to be set up for the future. They'll be able to build through the draft, right? But
you would hope.
I expect Cam Akers to get cut. I would imagine that some teams did put out feelers for Cam Akers. There probably wasn't anything that could come of that. You talk about Brandon Cooks. Brandon Cooks' contract is just too big to trade for. The guy actually is getting paid quite a bit of money by Houston.
Yeah, but like, it's one of those situations where like there's some teams that could use that. Like, let's be honest. Like, you're telling me that there aren't any teams in the NFL right now that could use him.
There absolutely are teams that could use Brandon Cooks, but there are a lot of people at the Brandon Cooks level who are getting paid a lot less, is the problem.
I mean, I don't know. I don't know about that. I don't know if I can agree with that. I feel like he's one of those players that, like, in the proper offensive like coordination, he can show out. He could be a Julio Jones level player. He just has been in Houston for so long that nobody knows what's okay. And that's a terrible organization that hasn't run itself well in any sort of way. There hasn't been a good quarterback there for years, if ever, arguably. Yeah. So, like, you know, this is one of those situations where, like, it's great that he's getting paid, I'm sure, but there has to be a team out there that's looked at him and has gone, you know, it's worth the money to bite the bullet on that contract. And I genuinely think this is Houston going, well, we have one good thing. Let's hold on to it, you know?
But I mean, he's not even really playing right now, right? I just took a look at it. Brandon Cooks signed a 2-year, about $40 million contract extension in Houston. And you look at the teams that are really desperate right now for wide receivers, and it seems like the Green Bay Packers, who just signed one of the biggest quarterback contracts of all time, like, they would really love a Brandon Cooks right now, I bet. But you're trading all that salary cap for picks as well. It's a lot of investment to make in a guy who is, I mean, like, where would you even put him? Like, top 20, maybe top 20, top 15 if you're really being generous.
Yeah, I just think this is Houston hoping and praying that, like, Deshaun Watson comes back and it is a magical combo. And honestly, it may be, but I think the season is over for them. I think this is another one of those situations where it's like kind of what the Falcons have been doing. Like, trade for better picks. Look for the future, because, you know, for some reason, they're doing exactly the opposite of what they want to do. They're doing well when they're trying to tank, it looks like.
Well, yeah, you're speaking of the Falcons. Let's talk about the Falcons right now. Both your team and my team, the Seahawks and the Falcons, are sitting at the top of their respected divisions. AJ, are the Falcons good? Should they be good? What's going on?
Okay. Are the Falcons good? Yes. It's really hard for me as a fan of the Falcons to say that they are bad, because I genuinely believe that they are not bad. I do believe they're playing above what they should be playing. They shouldn't be at the top of the NFC South at all, in my opinion. I love it. I'm happy about it. But I feel like it's just like we're just a bad division, you know? Like,
you are the only team that is currently leading a division without a winning record. Yeah. Falcons sitting at 4-4 and in lead of the division. It's a bad division.
We're not losing. It's
Yeah,
not a
you're not. I
losing
mean,
record.
yeah, it's not a losing record. There are teams like the Seahawks who have in the past made it to the playoffs on a losing record. There is a chance that this division will produce one of those this year. That'll be fun. But I mean, when you actually watch these Falcons games, it's one of the things is that they never look in control of a game, right?
It's disconnected. It's very disconnected.
It's the end of the game, and all of a sudden the dominoes have fallen in such a specific way. Boom, the Falcons win. Younghoe Koo is kicking a 50-yard field goal and the Falcons win.
It's funny because I genuinely believe that they were like marketing with Younghoe throughout Atlanta, because they're like, he's one of our best players. And when a kicker is one of your best players, most marketed players, that's not a good sign, guys. But genuinely, I'm still on the let's get Ritter in there. I think, like I've said before, they're running like an offensive scheme that pretty much is for a brand new rookie quarterback. Like, why not give the rookie some, especially in garbage time when you know you're going to lose, give the kid some shots. Like, I genuinely feel like it's you're once again building for the future, especially with all the trades that they made at the deadline. Like, they just literally traded for draft assets. So why not build towards the future? Trade Mariota right now. The man is at the peak of tradability I've ever seen that man be. Like, this is one, and especially in a season where good quarterbacks are few and far between. Like, trade him. Trade his ass right now. Get him out of Atlanta. Give the rookie a shot, because you're never going to get more for him than right now. I don't know.
He's doing okay. Like, he's had some games. I think that they should let Desmond Ridder sit for a bit. I do think that eventually the Falcons are going to start getting lucky. I do think they end up in tanking mode. They're going to lose a lot more games. They're going to end up with a pretty nice draft pick. But I mean, when you look at their division, the Saints are starting to get things figured out, right? Saints have had a couple really good games. They just shut out the Raiders. Andy Dalton is playing surprisingly well. They're scoring a lot of points. I still believe that eventually the Bucs are going to get it all figured out. There's going to get more consistency with that team. I don't think the Falcons at the end of this year are going to win this division.
You never know.
But I mean, it could happen.
You never know.
I mean, eventually, do you think, like, if at the end of the year, if the Falcons are still like, I mean, we're halfway through it now. Do you think the Falcons should start changing up the roster to lose more games?
I think they need to make a decision, and they need to make a decision soon. I think if they do want to go full tank, get rid of Mariota, I think that's what they should have done at the trade deadline, and it doesn't look like they're going that way. It looks like they're trying to win with what they've got, and they're just looking for trade assets, because I feel like they've given up on tanking. They're like, let's see where we can go with this. Why not? I know we got to move on to the Eagles. I want to hear what your take is on the Seahawks. Are they real? Because Geno Smith, in my opinion, is not, but I want him to be, because he's my fantasy football quarterback.
Geno Smith is real. Okay, I don't know if the Seahawks are real, but Geno Smith is. The level that Geno Smith is playing at right now, he is the leading quarterback in passes on target. He's the best deep. He is literally the best deep ball thrower in football right now. PFF has him at a 95.7 passing grade, first among quarterbacks. This guy is, throughout the first half of the season here, he's been playing incredible football. He's hitting just like every single deep ball that he needs to. He's adjusting the line of scrimmage. He's audibling into perfect plays at the right moment. The Seahawks, I don't think that at the end of this season, we're going to win our division. I really don't think so. I think that eventually, the Seahawks are operating on such a small margin of error right now. And these games that we're winning, we're basically playing perfectly. The defense is making exactly the right adjustments. All the rookies are playing far beyond expectation, right? We drafted 2 rookie tackles who have started every single game this year, and they're playing like some of the best offensive linemen in football. That's not normal, right? Like, that's not something that's totally sustainable. I think the Seahawks are a really good football team right now, but this isn't our year. Year down the line, 2 years down the line, then we're really competing. But the team's just playing really, really well right now. I can't explain it. It's good coaching. It's a lot of young talent who's just being coached up at the right moment right now. I'm happy, man. I don't know. I expected us to win at most 6 games this year. It looks like we're going to be well above 6 games.
Yeah, I think we're both in the same position where our teams are definitely playing above where they should be playing right now.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right.
Another team that's playing well above expectation right now. The Eagles are still undefeated. Are the Eagles, for real, the best team in the NFC, in the NFL? What do you think?
I'm going to say 2 things. One, I love the fact that pretty much the whole day we're just saying, are these teams for real? Because that's the NFL and right now some of the NBA. But as far as the Eagles, man, I do think they're the best team in the NFC. I just see it. Like for some reason, they just have it all together. Hurts is honestly one of the most dynamic quarterbacks I've seen this season. It's amazing what he's doing. And for somebody that I generally didn't think was going to be that great coming into the season, he's very much astonished me. He's shown out. As far as the Eagles are doing, they're doing much better than expected. But I do think that at least what I expected, but I genuinely believe that they are the team to beat in the NFC. If you can beat these guys, then maybe you have a shot at an upset, but I don't know. I just see them as the team to beat in the playoffs.
They are all around playing really good football. The defense is playing great. The offense is unbelievable right now. They're doing kind of everything. I did like Jalen Hurts quite a bit, mostly just based off the running ability we saw last season. I thought that he was going to be a pretty good quarterback. I thought he still had a long way to go. But then we look at this last week where the guy he was throwing the entire game. He didn't even really get things done with his legs. A.J. Brown is such a huge addition to this team. They really seemed like they were a wide receiver away. And this trade for A.J. Brown has completely changed the game for them. I don't know if they're the best team in football. They are, by far and away, the NFC team to beat. When you look at their schedule, the schedule's not super difficult, and it's not going to be difficult going pretty much the rest of the way. I don't know how many games this team loses, man. Like, they're really good.
I mean, yeah. I think that, honestly, I think that's one of those situations where you look at the schedule and be like, all right, their path is kind of paved to the playoffs. And I don't know. I think the Falcons are also in one of those easy, like, games across the season. And I think that's going to play, especially with the way all the other teams have been playing this season. I think that's going to play a heavy factor in who goes to the playoffs and who doesn't. The ease of schedule for the rest of the season is going to be a major factor. And hey, that's the way the cookie crumbles in the NFL, I guess. But
yeah, I mean, you want to just run through the rest of their schedule for the year. Tomorrow they play the Texans, then they play the Commanders, then they play the Colts, then they play the Packers, then they play the Titans, then they play the Giants, the Bears, the Cowboys again, the Saints, the Giants again. Who's beating them? Who on the list? The Cowboys, maybe? Cowboys are okay.
I don't even want to say the Cowboys. Maybe the Giants, because they see them twice, right? So if they see the Giants twice, I'll say the Giants will steal one from them. But maybe the Bears. But that's like
the new Bears team with Chase Claypool. Yeah,
exactly. But they have to make that, that cohesion happen between Fields and Claypool. But other than that, that's like pretty much like, the yellow brick road to the playoffs for the Eagles right now. They're not in Kansas, but they're kind of close, right?
I agree. I could see the Cowboys. I could see the Giants, because those are the teams with defenses that have the potential to slow things down. The Giants, they blitz a lot. we'll see. I think Jalen Hurts has been pretty good against the blitz so far, but like an entire game of getting blitzed, we'll see how he does. Cowboys defense is really good this time around. They'll actually have Dak Prescott. That might change things. But yeah, it's possible they don't lose a game until, I mean, they might just stop pulling the starters towards the end of the season because they're just going to have this division locked up. They are in a tough division, but I don't know. This is ridiculous. I did not expect the Eagles to be this good.
Yeah, I didn't either. I mean, there's a lot of teams like that this season, and I still think it's because poor quarterback, performance this season all around the league. But like, if you told me that the Jets, the Giants, and the Eagles were going to be as good as they were this season, I'd be like, yeah, go put money on Vegas and lose it,
All right, well, let's talk about another undefeated team, but in a different sport, the Milwaukee Bucks. AJ, you're going to have to lead this conversation, man, because I don't even know what you texted me about this. What's going on?
Okay, so as far as NBA standings go, the Milwaukee Bucks are currently the only team undefeated in the entire league. And I've seen all throughout the internet, are the Bucks for real? And I'm here to say, no, they're not. Okay? They're really not. The reason why I say this is because if you look at the last two games, actually, maybe it's two of the previous ones. I don't know if it was like, I haven't watched their last game, but the game against the Knicks and the Hawks, the referees bailed them out. Yeah, go rewatch it, please. Especially the last 2 minutes. The Hawks were coming back on a tear, and literally it was a 3-point game. And for some reason, Trae Young gets a charge called on him. Not a charge. And then another offensive foul when, he was literally just doing a block. So all these things, he gets shoved down later. There's so many fouls that I see, and it's one of those things where, like, I get it. Hey, it's entertainment, but come on, refs, let it be fun. Let it be a buzzer beater. Don't give the team anything. Let's go back to the days where we had a little contact that was fair, and then if somebody's actually pushing someone to the floor, hey, let's call that. If there's a charge in the lane, just because the guy gets a cool dunk, you should still call that. All right. It's an offensive foul for a reason. Giannis can't just dunk over everybody, put his knee in his chest, and kick a guy down to the floor and make it look flashy just because. I'm tired of it. I want to see the refs call some real basketball game and not this, okay, one side's going to win it because it's a better story. Whatever. He happened with the Knicks, and I am not a Knicks fan. I'm not a Knicks fan. I hate the Knicks. The Knicks and the Hawks are playing right now. I wish I could see what's going on. I don't want to know an update. Somebody's going to tell me an update. I don't want to know. Okay? But I don't like the Knicks. So for me to say that they got robbed is messed up. Okay, never mind. I do want an update. It's 93-77. Let's go. Yeah. I don't know, man. I'm getting tired of it. I feel like we're in the era where the ref can't call a game straight. I say, just call it even, man.
Shaquille O'Neal played like 20 years ago. It was way worse back then. This has nothing to do with the Bucks.
Did you watch any of those?
No,
games?
Exactly. No, I didn't watch any of those games. I don't need to. The Bucks are a good basketball team. They won a championship already.
I just want to. There's literally a clip out there where Trae Young goes to shake Coach Bud's hand, right? The coach of the Milwaukee Bucks, and he literally goes and tells him to fuck off. Excuse my language, okay? But that's literally what happened. There's a clip. You can see him exactly say it and just wave him off.
That has nothing to do with how good of a basketball team they are.
We're keeping it PG-13. We get one. All right. Everybody gets one.
They're 6-0, and their second best player hasn't played a single minute in the season yet, AJ.
Who? Middleton?
Chris Middleton. Middleton's out. They're 6-0.
Best player.
Chris Middleton is their second best player.
Okay. Let's look.
You think Bobby Portis is their second best player? Come on.
No, Bobby Portis is obviously not their second best player.
You go. Okay, I got a bunch of stats for you. I'm gonna read out some stats for you, AJ. You go take a look at the Bucks roster. Tell me who's better than Chris Middleton. Okay, so one.
I don't want to hear this. I want to say, look at their schedule. Look at who they played at the beginning of the season. All right, we got the dysfunctional 76ers, the Rockets, the dysfunctional Nets, the Knicks, then the Hawks, two of which I said the refs helped him out in, and then the Pistons. This is another one of those situations where they've had easy games so far and were bailed out when it was
That's
too close.
Only one team on that list is like not a good basketball team to beat.
You think the Rockets are a good basketball team to beat?
No, I said the Rockets are the only one on that list that I would be like, okay, that's a gimme. Like, didn't Kyrie and KD in the game against the Bucks, they both scored 30?
Doesn't matter. That's a dysfunctional team. Look at what's we'll talk about it later. But look at what's going on in like.
Okay, but that is why the Bucks are good, because a dysfunctional team can have two players put up 30 against them and they still win. That's a good basketball team.
I'm tired of this. All right, let's move on because they're not for
because
real.
I prepared for this segment, AJ.
Okay, fine.
Because
Let me
they
hear
are
your-
for real.
let me hear your
Okay,
notes.
let's
All right.
talk about Giannis, because Giannis is the best player in the NBA right now. Because one, from defense, Giannis is holding opponents to 32.2% from the field. He is locking people down. On the other side, Giannis is averaging 34.4 points per game. He's averaging 34 points a game, 14 rebounds, 5 assists, 60% from field goal. He's the best two-way player in the world right now. He's playing dominant basketball. Let's talk about the Bucks defensively as a whole. Number 1 defensive rating. First in opponent field goal percentage. Brook is leading the league in BPG, blocks per game, leading the league. Giannis, again, holding opponents to 32% from the field. And Drew is averaging a high averaging a career high SPG. The Bucks are the best defense in the league. They have the best offensive player in the league right now, except for maybe Luka. They're a good basketball team. And again, second best player. Hasn't even stepped foot on the court this season. They're winning the East.
I don't know, man. I think the East is up for grabs still.
They're the 1 seed.
We're 5 games into the season, 6 games into the season. You cannot say that right now. That is the boldest take I've heard ever. All right.
No, it's not.
Yes, it is.
People
All
were
right,
calling
how
them
about
the 1 seed before the season started.
All right, then bet. All right, I want to. This is one of those things we're gonna come back to. We need a bet on this because honestly, I will take the entire Eastern Conference over what's going the Bucks in first place.
Okay,
Let's put a bet on that.
barring a Giannis injury,
Fair.
Bucks are the 1 seed.
I mean, he's a hoss, so he's not gonna get hurt. Deal. Bet. 10,000 fan IQ or fan whatever, points that we get for watching this. What's it called? I'm bad. I'm old.
They've already won a championship. You can't act like they're not. They've already won a championship.
Boston was number 1 last season. Anyway, let's move on. Move.
Okay, the Nets. Everything's on fire in the Nets. Everything's going to hell in a handbasket in the Nets. Steve Nash has been fired. They're apparently going to hire suspended coach Ime Udoka from the Celtics.
Called it.
You did. I'm utterly baffled by everything going on in Brooklyn right now. What's going on?
I mean, nothing good. I mean, it's one of those things where you're in trouble when your star is saying, when one of your star players is saying the things that Kyrie's saying. It's getting the attention off the game. I'm not going to even give it the time of day because that's just horrible stuff that he said. And, nobody should repeat it. And I'm not going to give it the time of day because it doesn't need it. It's not here nor there. It's not for the court. None of that's cool. Moving on. That's getting too much attention away from what really matters. And that's the game. Okay. Let's focus on that. Not only that, I think Steve Nash saw this coming. I think he wanted out of Brooklyn because it is a dumpster fire right now. His 2 biggest stars are not gelling. You know, the offense is supposed to be one that on paper would destroy most plays, most teams, and should be a playoff bound team, but they're doing pretty badly. Like, besides Kevin Durant being Kevin Durant and like Kyrie Irving, like, the man is talented. We can't deny that. But it's one of those situations where maybe this is the perfect situation for, I'm going to butcher his name, but Ime Udoka, Coach Udoka. I think he's one of the few people that could turn it around. I love Steve Nash, don't get me wrong, but I feel he's one of those people where he has experience in horrible locker room situations, i.e. Dwight Howard and him in the Lakers. Dwight Howard's first run. Like, it's one of those situations where you want what's best for both parties. You want to see the side succeed. And the Celtics were okay with letting their coach walk. And I think that was a poor decision on the Celtics on my end. But hey, I think this is great for Brooklyn if he can fix it. It's still 6 games into the season. It's too early to call who's going to be in first on any conference.
It's not.
So it is. It's too early, man. You don't know what could happen.
Not. Look, Ime Udoka, he's going to have that Nets bench looking really, really good, and they're going to miss the playoffs because what's going on in Brooklyn cannot be fixed by just bringing in a new coach. It's a dumpster fire there. Do you really think the guy who completely disrespected Steve Nash, said they didn't need a coach, was holding his own private practices, is really going to deal with the coach who last season was yelling at his star players on the bench when they weren't performing well? Kyrie's going to hate this guy. KD is just totally checked out. He wants nothing to do with any of this. The Nets, they lack leadership, and they lack the the want for leadership. Kyrie thinks that is his team and that they can just do whatever they want, and as long as Kyrie's there, everything is going to be solved, despite the fact that they've been terrible the entire time that he's been there. The Nets ownership needs to blow this entire thing up. They need to wash their hands of it. Honestly, they should probably sell the team, because everything going on with the Nets right now is just bad. This is so bad.
All right, that's a bold statement, because Jay-Z already sold the team, all right? You can't sell it twice. But whoever is the new owner, they can sell it. Honestly, I don't know, man. I'm not as skeptical as you are. I really do think that it's all about the coach, man. Maybe, like you said, maybe it won't work. Maybe Kyrie's going to hate it. Or maybe this is the type of coach he needs. Someone to tell him, hey, shut the blank up, all right? We need you to focus on the game. You're a good player. You need to be a good leader. And what you're doing off the court isn't being a good leader.
That's worked so well with the previous 9 coaches Kyrie's had.
I mean,
the man is uncoachable. How many coaches have to get fired before we just land on the conclusion the man's uncoachable?
He's not Russell Westbrook, all right, dude. Give the man a chance, all right?
All right. Let's get into the next topic. We've talked about tanking in the NBA this season. Victor Wembanyama is right there at the prize for whoever tanks the best and wins the lottery. But the Jazz and the Spurs keep winning games. They are about to reach to the point where they are going to be out of the top of the lottery for like the most available balls in the game. Are they winning too much? Do they need to back off and go full tank mode?
Yeah. I mean, the Spurs obviously, I think, do. I also am very surprised that the Jazz are performing at the rate they're performing. I'm hoping that this doesn't turn into the season that everyone tanks. We've seen before that the new draft has changed it up. Being the last place team doesn't automatically give you the first place in the draft anymore, and really didn't before, but now it's even less so. Like, the odds are stacked against you, let's be honest. And the best thing to do is to just perform as best you can. You're right that they can, lose a bunch of balls, but It's about Victor Wembanyama, and everybody wants him next season. And I thought the Spurs were truly after him, especially when they traded DeJounte Murray to the Hawks. Now, I think this is one of those situations where, yes, they need to stop winning, both teams, if they want any shot at a good rebuild to start next year. The issue is every other team also doing that? Are there really going to be only like 6 or 7 teams this year that truly go for the championship? And if that's the situation, this is going to be a fun season just to see who's going to go for it and who's not, because Wembanyama is a big get for next season. People are saying he's better than Zion. He could be the next LeBron. The man is 6'1", and he played in the EuroLeague and was great. Like,
I'm not a big believer in tanking. Like, I think that from what we've seen from Philadelphia, what we've seen from the Cleveland Browns, building a losing culture in your organization does not end well for you. I think intentionally burning an entire season down to try to get one guy, it pretty much doesn't work. I think, like, who's like the one time that we've seen like tanking really work? The Houston Astros sort of tanked for a bit, but
different
sport. I don't know. Yeah, and baseball is much different. It's a much easier sport to tank into and still maintain your culture, because baseball is weird. I just, like, when you look at what the process did to Philadelphia, like, I'm not signing up for that, man. Victor's good. Victor's really, really good, but you can win some games and compete and still end up with that first pick. So for me, just do what you're doing, Pop. You got to figure it out. You're one of the best coaches of all time.
Right? That's true. I mean, I guess trust in Pop. I don't know.
It's worked in the past. All right. Next topic we got today. The XFL is going through with the complete rebrand. Now, they already announced they changed complete the rebrand. XFL logo. The XFL logo is now the new terrible XFL logo.
The Axe XFL?
Yeah, we got it here on the screen. Yeah, and it looks like, I don't know, like a energy drink brand. I don't know. It doesn't look like a sports league.
It looks like a scent of Axe, and that's why I say it's the XFL.
Yeah, I agree. But now that they've released the team logos. Let's see. Do we have the team logos?
Whole new rebrand. Oh, yes.
Yeah. Look at these. General thoughts?
Not good, Cotton. Not good. I'm going to be real. Like, there's a lot of teams that have very similar logos. The Battlehawks, the Guardians. But when you say rebrand, you're expecting more than just like, hey, let's up the same logos. Or the Renegades, I think, is a complete downgrade, because they arguably had one of the coolest, like, it reminded me of like the Gotham football team in Dark Knight Rises, or what I think that's the third one. Yeah. And that one, like, they had that cool bandit. They were just different colors, and now they're the Arlington Renegades, and it's not great.
Yeah, I don't like that logo. I really don't like any of these logos. They either look like clip art images or just like what's going on with the Vipers logo? What's going on with the Brahmas logo? These are not good.
That's the Rocks team. It should just be like the San Antonio, the Rock teams.
Genuinely stunned that the Rock has decided they need to name a team after him.
Yeah.
I mean, we can't stop talking about this guy on this show. He has to be brought up every single week. But This is exactly what we talked about when we talked about Black Adam going into it. Everything The Rock does has to be a vanity project for The Rock. Everything has to be about him. He buys a football league and is like, you know what? One of the teams, it's going to be The Rock's team.
It's going to be the Brahmas, because I'm the Brahma Bull. Yeah. Yeah, no, I agree. I just don't think this is a rebrand, honestly. Like, the Seattle Sea Dragons, I get. Alliteration. Totally smart. Battlehawks is the same logo. Vipers, what? Guardians, pretty much same logo. Roughnecks, pretty much same logo. DC Defenders and Renegades. Hey, we can put letters together. Yeah. I don't know. I just wish it was a little more creative.
I really don't like the change from Seattle Dragons to Sea Dragons. One, it very obviously seems like they're just trying to make some kind of association with the Seahawks. Not a big fan of it. It's just a total useless word. And just Seattle Dragons. Seattle Dragons was cool. I liked the Seattle Dragons. I don't know.
I disagree. I think the Sea Dragons make sense. It's alliteration. You like that in sports. It's like all high school teams, like the Lovett Lions is like one that I remember. The Westminster Wildcats are like, what was that? Ours was horrible. Galloway Scots. Were we Scottishmen, but we had like lions with wings? I don't know. It was weird. What was your high school mascot?
Oh, we were the Osprey.
Okay, well, like you can't just say we were just the Osprey. What was your high school?
Well, it was the SRDCS Osprey.
All right, that's a mouthful. Okay,
my school had a long name.
That didn't work at all. I was expecting
it's terrible.
There to be an alliteration. Maybe it's just a South thing.
Man,
I
was in the past. I've been excited for the XFL. I'm not super excited for the third round of the XFL, especially just like every change that they've made so far to make it sleek and modern and different. I'm just not a big fan of. Don't like these logos. Don't like the league logo. I'm done with it.
You're out. You're not gonna even watch.
Out. I mean, if it's on,
I feel like they'll bring you back. They'll reel you back in. Somehow.
I watch a lot of sports. I'm sure that if it's on and I'm bored, I will watch a game. But like, I watched the Seattle Dragons. I was into the Seattle Dragons. I like the St. Louis Battlehawks. I cared about the St. Louis Battlehawks. I doubt they're going to get any kind of like real investment from me this time around. I'm just like, this is the third time, man. How many times are we going to do this?
Well, Vince McMahon's not on board, but you know what is a new sideshow? Boxing.
Oh. Yeah.
Yeah. Thoughts on...
Which one of the Pauls fought Anderson Silva over the weekend?
Yes.
I don't really care about this. I haven't watched a single one of these fights because I have better things to spend my money on than fake boxing. AJ, what do you think?
I'm in the same mentality. My thought is, let me wait to see the highlights the next day, because it all comes down to like, at this point, I'm just expecting the person that they go against is either looking for money or looking for like, one last call to fame. And most of the time it's just money. Like, look at the guy's past. He's fighting, literally, we're talking about I think a 47-year-old, I'm probably wrong on the age, but in his 40s, Anderson Silva, who in his practice bouts got knocked out by his training partner twice the day before the fight. So yeah, to me, it's just like the man took him to 8 rounds and he's bragging and calling out Nate Diaz. Like, the Paul brothers are in over their head. Jake needs to listen to his older brother and just go to WWE, where it's choreographed. You know what's gonna happen. You could still hurt yourself, but the
thing is that because it's boxing, he can probably beat Nate Diaz. Nate Diaz has never exactly been a dominant striker or anything. You take out Nate Diaz's ability to grapple on the ground, you're probably not going to knock him out. He's got a really strong jaw, but he's going to lose in points.
But that's kind of like the Paul, playbook, if you will. They call out UFC fighters to boxing, and it's not the same. A lot of these guys have multitudes of weaponry or arsenal like in their game, because UFC is not just striking, it's grappling, it's striking, it's kicking, it's everything but biting, essentially. And you need to know how to change it up on the fly. Boxing is always just boxing and strength. So It's like going to, it's like a football player going to a bunch of rugby guys and he's like, let's play some football. And it's just like, well, the rules are different. It's not the same. Yeah, you could transfer those skills over, but it's not going to be immediate.
Yeah, I mean, I'll be interested when they decide finally they're going to fight a boxer, their weight class, their age. I'll gladly watch. Right now, a lot of people are just buying it to say like, oh, well, Anderson Silva, he's a bona fide guy. I've watched him before. He's definitely going to knock the Pauls out. Gotta watch this. Gotta watch him get knocked out. But it's just, no, this old guy is not going to compete against a young. Like, these guys, one, look, I'm not going to knock it. They're in shape. They practice a lot. They train a lot. They've learned boxing well enough to where, yeah, they can get in the ring with a UFC fighter and beat him. They can't compete with UFC real boxers.
Fighter,
Exactly. I don't give a shit about the Paul's boxing.
Yeah, I'm not a huge fan. I think this is just clickbait. I think this is just an attempt at getting more attention, and it's genuinely working. Like, give the men give the men what they earn. They definitely are good at marketing.
Gotta respect the hustle. I'm not interested in the Paul's boxing, but I'll tell you what I am interested in, AJ. I'll tell you what I'm super interested in. I'm talking about the World Cup.
Yeah, I'm actually really excited about this too.
I have my Mexico World Cup jersey right over there. Cannot wait to wear that. I'm going to be rooting for Mexico. I'm going to be rooting for the U.S. The U.S. men's team right now is actually really good for like the first time in, I think, 15 years. I can't even remember the last time we had a good team. This is awesome. The World Cup's happening it doesn't normally happen in November. This is not normally World Cup month, but it's here. How pumped are you?
I'm super excited for this for a number of reasons. I have 3 teams that I'm going for. And I love the fact that it changed to wintertime for one reason, just for the players, because the fact that it was in Qatar, it was going to be murderously hot if they held it at the normal time. Like that just wouldn't be fun. It wouldn't be fair, and it wouldn't be the same World Cup. So I think this is a compromise that, especially with what happened with the pandemic and every other major tournament that had to be pushed back, I think it was smart. It wasn't a big change. It's still technically in 2022. It lines up good. I'm also a huge fan of this because I am excited to eat turkey, watch football, and watch soccer. Like, that's going to be fun. Like, I know most, Americans are excited to watch football and, do the Thanksgiving thing. I think that's great. My family, my mom immigrated here from Portugal, my dad from Iran. I'm a first generation American. So I'm rooting for the US, Iran, and Portugal. And I'm excited for everything that's happening. I think this is going to be great opportunity for a number of teams. And it's Ronaldo's last World Cup.
Messi's as well. Messi's last World Cup. There's a lot of storylines about this one.
Yeah, 2 massive legendary flames going out at the end of this as far as international play. Now, I would love to see a Uruguay-Portugal final. Personally, I think that would be the perfect ending to this because those 2 legends have written such a historic battle between them, and both have never, I was going to say both have never won an international cup. That's not true. Ronaldo has won the European Cup with Portugal and another cup too. So he's won 2 technically, and Messi hasn't won. But I think it'd be great because people constantly compare these guys, and what stage would be better if not the World Cup stage for them to prove who's the best.
I mean, I would really love to see the US make a deep run because I think that will really build a lot of new fans to the sport. Would be really cool to see the US because, like I said, the US team is really good. The other team that I would really like to see, I think that the Norway team with Erling Haaland, who is apparently the best scorer in soccer history. I would love to. I mean, this dude has been he's had games where he scored 9 goals. if this dude is doing some of that stuff in the World Cup, it's gonna be ludicrous.
Nuts. Yeah.
So super excited for that. Yeah, this is a really, really exciting World Cup, man.
We got
Oh,
BC Line in the chat
yep.
going nuts over Canada. And I just want to
Canada.
say, hey, man, good luck. You have a kind of easy group. I do think if we go group to group, I do think that Group F, Croatia and Belgium are going to come out. If Canada does something, that'd be great.
In the in our qualifying stages, Canada was the best team in our qualifier stages. They dominated through qualifiers. The Canada team is gonna be pretty good. I do see them potentially winning their group. The US and England share a group. That's gonna be super fun.
I think that's gonna be a very intense group. England, Iran, US, and Wales. I think Wales and Iran both have an opportunity to upset England and or the US, but who knows? That's the beauty of the World Cup. You never know who comes out of these group stages. I don't know who the group of death is this year, though. I feel like most
I don't really think there
pretty...
is one. I think the closest one is the group that the US is in.
Probably, yeah, because I feel like most of them are... You kind of have some clear-cut winners coming out of most of them. Maybe Argentina, Mexico, Poland, and Saudi Arabia. I think England, US, Wales, and Iran is a good one. Yeah. Maybe Group F with Belgium, Canada, Morocco, and Croatia. There's 3 good teams in that one. That could be the group of death with there. I'd love to see what other people have qualified as the group of death this year. But like I said, it's going to be great. I don't know what the entire schedule is looking like. For me, I love soccer, so the longer the better. If this goes to, Christmas.
I believe it will end the week before Christmas.
Oh, that's great. You're at home. You're in the Christmas spirits. Potentially your country wins the World Cup. What else is better? You get a nice jersey on Christmas morning. You rip it up. You see a nice Ronaldo with the World Cup sticker on it. Let's go. Knock on wood.
Lockdown Turn in the chat says, when does FCF come back? FCF, my friend, the excitement right now is not for FCF. It's for fan-controlled hoops. Fan-controlled basketball is just around the corner. February.
Potentially. We haven't really heard.
Maybe.
We haven't gotten any confirmations, but we have got confirmations on hoops tryouts. And I was there this weekend. And it was honestly a very amazing turnout. There was a lot of people that came out, a lot of talented people. The athletes themselves were, a much higher caliber than what I was expecting. They tested speed. They got all the metrics that needed to be tested so that they can be used for scouting in the NBA. It was super interesting, mostly because I loved watching the vertical jumps. Why? Because we had a couple guys that we had to literally readjust the measuring apparatus because they jumped so high they smacked the entire thing out, and we had to all right, let's get a ruler out, readjust. All right, let's go. All right. So that was awesome. And a lot of cool interviews went down. A lot of coaches that came out. Saw some of the coaching staff. Coach Mike Bibby was there. Very nice guy, very cool guy. It was really fun. Honestly, I enjoyed being there. And I think that people, especially fans, are going to be very shocked at the, like I said, the caliber of player that's going to be playing. These guys are talented athletes. Some of them have won one-on-one championships. Some of them have won the Mexican League. There was even a guy who holds the world records for most consecutive 3-point shots. And I think that's 177 in a row.
That's wild.
Yeah. So
I'm super excited. Just the more hype that comes out of this. I was watching Josh McCouga's Instagram videos from the weekend. Just pumped, man. I wish I could have been out there in Chicago. It seemed like it was a blast. Yeah, so excited for fan controlled hoops, man. Especially now, I've been watching a lot of basketball. Just Gearing up, man. Cannot wait for it all to come together.
You know what I'm really excited about with hoops, though, is I know that it's going to come eventually, but I can't wait for the fans' involvement. That's always one of my favorite things about fan-controlled sports and entertainment, is the fact that fans literally make the logos. That's something that, like, even me, I still participate in that, because I'm like, someday I'm going to get my logos on a professional team, and then I can get the shirts and jerseys and the shirtsies. They need to make some shirtsies. I want to see, like, next season, like, for FCF, I want to see, like, player shirtsies. Not the jerseys. Let's just print some shirtsies out. Like, give me, an Andrew Jamil Glacier Boys one. Like, you know what I mean? Like, first franchise tag, they should get a shirtsy. I'm just my tip,
Just float that out there, There's some people probably listening.
I genuinely hope, but I don't know. Who knows who's listening on these things? You never know if the government is listening.
Commish Ray Austin told me he listened to the last episode, so I mean, maybe they're out there. Maybe they're out there. But I mean, that's gonna wrap up this episode of Don't Cause a Ruckus, man. This was a really good one. Super packed on the sports side of things. Hopefully next week we get into some more fun, some non-sports stuff. AJ, always good talking to you, man. Love doing this show.
Oh, it was great talking to you too, man. I think our rivalry is strong still.
But yeah, fans, thanks for coming by in the chat. Make sure you check this out on the YouTube. There's a whole bunch of shows coming up on this channel right now. On Tuesdays, there's the Info Arcade, which you're also on, AJ. That's a dope show that you can watch live here on the Twitch. You can watch it on the YouTube. There's the fan-controlled show that comes on tomorrow, which you probably know about, but that show's awesome. But yeah, guys, until next time, keep the ruckus to a minimum.
I like that. Peace.
Don't cause a ruckus. We talking that talk, just spitting them facts. We setting them traps and cracking them back. We got all the news, we know all the stories. We start from the bottom, rise up to the glory. Yeah, we say what your local reporters can't say. We break down the X's and O's on the play. It's AJ, King, Con, and Jose Ruckus. We call it right on the first take, and they love us. Yeah, we the best when it comes to sports debate. Find the podcast and let it play. If we get you in your feelings, that's okay. AJ and Jose, send